Hello there, this is Lye Yosh. Welcome back to the Life Study Library. Today we're going to be talking about a scientific way to name your pets. Yes, I talk about stuff like this too, so be quiet. But while this seems like a very laid back, not so important topic, having a pet seems to tremendously increase your happiness. Past studies have shown that living together with a pet makes people more happy than if they were to live with their spouses or their partners. Of course, the best scenario for you is to live with your spouses and your pets under the same roof. But the second place goes to only taking your pets with you. So when you think it like that, having a pet is pretty important, which makes naming your pet also important. But what should you name your pet? What kind of name is the best choice for you? In fact, how should you name your non-human companion? This video is for a loving pet parent who is also struggling to figure out what to name them. And for that, I have for you today a study that suggests a specific time of the day that it's suitable for you to give your pet a loving name. And the study says that you should do this act while you're hungry. In this channel, I'm going to be talking about these interesting scientific and psychological information by implementing data from scientific studies. So if you're interested in watching this video and want to watch more of my past and my future content, then please subscribe to my channel. That'll not only support me tremendously, but it will make me very, very happy. So thank you for subscribing, and let's get going with the video. So a lot of you might understand that when it comes to decision making, you should always try to be as calm as possible. When you try to make your mind up while you're angry or while you're tired, you would most likely end up kicking yourself for the poor decision that you made. And this is because every time you're physically or mentally fatigued, your cognitive ability to detect small details and process accurate information will hinder, causing you to make simple errors that you would otherwise never make. But then today's study reversed this theory and questioned, what if we can use these intense, emotional, hot states to our benefit? More specifically, what if we can use the state of hunger to our benefit when making decisions? So the study collected a total of 126 samples to determine how the hot state of hunger compared to not being hungry affects complex decision making under a gambling condition by using a pretty famous study called the Iowa Gambling Task, or IGT for short. So basically, the study divided the samples into two groups: the control group, the not hungry group, and the test group, the hungry group. And the samples played a card game with a reward and a penalty system. So the card game had two options. Option 1 is low reward but low penalty, whereas option 2 is high reward but high penalty. And this means that option 1 is beneficial in the long run because you're not going to gain a lot, but you're not going to lose a lot. So you'll end up getting a positive result in the 10th round. Whereas option 2, you would gain a lot, but you can also lose a lot, so you would end up with a lower result in the long term. But the samples were not told about the system, so they had to figure this out on their own, which would require the ability of complex decision making. They had to figure out on their own that if they wanted to win in the long term, they had to choose option 1. And the study showed a surprising result that people in the hungry group actually showed better performance on complex decision-making tasks, providing evidence that the state of hunger improves the ability to make decisions that are complex, but beneficial in the long term. And at this point, I understand that a lot of you might be sus about this result, because it is psychologically considered that hunger, the hot state, or the signal that the body is in emergency, provokes impulsive decision-making. So everyone assumes that people make decision-making mistakes when they're hungry. But the study is pointing out that when it comes to complex decision-making with completely uncertain outcomes, like gambling, being in a state of hunger is beneficial to making better decisions. So decisions like which stock to invest in, or solving a complex math problem, these situations have either a certain outcome or are a little bit uncertain but still has a general formula to it. In these scenarios, being hungry is a disadvantage, yes, but when deciding on things that you have no clue on about the correct answer, like deciding on what to name your pet, being in a state of hunger makes people decide on intuition and emotion, leading to a satisfactory decision. So, in summary, overthinking of decision making with uncertain outcomes is pointless, and is much better to just leave it into your intuition and with a snap of a finger. So when trying to name your pets, pets will definitely recognize what they're being called by, but they probably don't have any opinions about the name itself. So a dog whose name is Edward probably doesn't know that the name originated in England, and doesn't like nor hate it any more than a dog whose name is Doge. So the whole thing is saying that if you're not too sure about what to name your pet, then don't sweat it. It might help if you try not eating anything for a couple of hours and making yourself hungry, which will allow you to come up with a good name. And likewise, when it comes to decision making with a uncertain result or an outcome that is in a way unimportant to you, Relying on your gut feeling might allow you to make better decisions, and you can improve on this ability through being hungry. And while this video is about, naming pets, the general principle also applies to people who are overall indecisive about stuff, especially about meaningless decisions. If you've ever watched the show The Good Place, you'd be familiar with the character Chidi Kendrick, whose whole story is about being indecisive about literally everything. And of course, his case is a severe exaggeration because he's a fictional character, but there are so many people who are struggling with the similar symptom. And the general reason why these people are so indecisive is because their mind is too cluttered. It means that there are so many distracting thoughts roaming around in their mind that it's enabling them from thinking about the important stuff that matters to them the most. I'm not calling these thoughts distracting in necessarily a bad way, but it's as if a fisherman is worrying about the mechanism of the engine system of the airplane. And of course, the fisherman can totally think about these stuff, but the problem lies when the fisherman thinks about this so much so that it distracts them from doing the most important task, fishing. And this, of course, applies to daily life as well. And this video really talks about this one minor method I can use to counter indecisiveness, but there are other more reliable techniques I can use. And I'm going to collect all these techniques, or mindsets if you will, and talk about it in great detail in one of my future videos that I'm going to plan on posting. This will probably be my next big project that I'm going to be doing, so definitely be on the lookout for that. So that is pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you liked it. If you are interested in my videos and want to watch my past and my future videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with what I have posted so far and what I will be posting soon. So until then, I'll see you in my other videos. Bye now.